Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's video is an update on my thoughts and feelings and experience with my alternating no-buy and low-buy year thus far. So we are a quarter of the way through the year. I've made it through January, February, and March of this kind of plan that I put forth for no-buy and low-buy. So I thought it was about time I touch base formally in a video and give you all my thoughts. Before we jump into my reflections, I just want to say a special welcome to anyone who's new to my channel. Hi, I'm Morgan. This type of content is exactly what I am gearing my channel towards. I just started on YouTube last August in 2020, and in 2021, I decided I needed a change. I decided to start doing an alternating no-buy and low-buy year, so that has led me down a journey of coming up with creative and interesting videos on my channel that utilize the products I already own in a fairly small minimalist makeup collection. If any of that sounds interesting to you, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go today. And now let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, so if you've been following along, you know that I'm doing alternating no-buy and low-buy months, starting with a January no-buy. So that meant so far this year, January was no-buy, February was low-buy, and now March was a no-buy. So the majority of this first quarter of my year has been a no-buy. And February, my low-buy month, was an extreme low buy. So I only purchased a couple products. All of them were fairly affordable. And if you're curious what I did buy, I'll link in the corner kind of my February trying on everything I bought that month video. And you'll see that it was really not a lot. So honestly, this whole first quarter of the year has been an extreme no and low buy for me. And that's certainly a change. When I started my channel last August in 2020, from August through the end of December, I was spending a lot of money on makeup, but not only was I spending a lot, I was also getting overwhelmed and feeling almost drowned in how much I had, just physically how much I had accumulated. So both the fact that I just don't love spending my money in that way, I'm definitely a frugal person and I love to do a lot of extensive research before purchasing products, combined with the fact that I was getting overwhelmed with what I already owned, led me to the decision to do this no and low buy. But I was definitely concerned because I'm trying to grow an audience here on YouTube, and I was worried that by not picking up new releases as soon as they launch, I would miss out on the opportunity to grow my audience quicker or in different areas than I already own makeup in. So I'm gonna start out on a little bit of a negative tone because I truly only have one negative or drawback or downfall that I've noticed throughout these past 3 months. And that downfall is that I'm missing out on a lot of launches that are highly anticipated, not just by the makeup industry or beauty community as a whole, but for me personally, things that I was looking forward to. For example, I was really highly anticipating the Auric launch from Samantha Ravindal, her new brand. Propa Beauty is a Black-owned lipstick company that I have been dying to try for a long time, and they just released a bunch of new shades in March, and I haven't been able to pick those up, but it's a company I've been wanting to support for a long time now. And the Kaleidos and Angelica Nyquist collaboration, her eyeshadow palette, was another big one that I was really deeply looking forward to that I'd missed out on, and now the restock is supposed to be in May, and that's during, yet again, another one of my no-buy months. So it's likely that I won't pick that palette up, and it's limited edition, and so those sorts of feelings of not just FOMO, it's not necessarily that I'm like seeing everyone else with their palettes and wishing like, oh my gosh, I just wish I also had that. I want to be part of that. It's more so that those are brands or companies or people that I really wanted to support with my dollar. And I'm not going to be able to do that in the way that I had hoped. So I'm going to look for other avenues to be able to support those people or those brands that mean a lot to me in the makeup space. So truthfully, that has been the biggest downfall. I very quickly into January got over my kind of fear of not being able to grow my audience or my channel at all, because I realized that I would rather build a community and an audience that are focused on the same values as me than I would to kind of invest in a lot of products rapid fire and have people here just for like that one-off review and not really get to know people as well, or be able to kind of tailor my content to the people who are enjoying my content. So I've actually really enjoyed the fact that I'm not just buying things to review them once and kind of never use them again just to try to get clicks and views on my channel. I feel like this is much more authentic to who I am as a creative person. I really want to kind of stretch my own limits and boundaries and get to know people a lot. That's a huge motivator for me for my channel, is getting to know people with similar interests. And I think I'll be able to do that maybe on a slower pace than if I were buying all the launches as they came out. But I still think I'll be able to do that really effectively and kind of get to know people who have the same values and same goals as I do. So that is one positive aspect of it. And now I'm going to get into kind of the other positive things that have come out of now 3 months into kind of this project I have going. So first up is kind of tied back to that concept that I was just talking about of kind of just wanting to create community and be able to talk to like-minded people about makeup and products that I'm interested in. And one way that I've found I can still do this without actually purchasing the makeup and kind of wasting the money and the product is to do Will I Buy It and anti-haul videos. So I just started doing those. I've only done, I believe, 2 by the time this video is going up, but I'm really loving filming those videos. If you've never heard of Will I Buy It or anti-haul videos, essentially the concept here is that I scroll through Instagram and look at all the new releases from a bunch of different brands and comment on them, on whether I'm interested in them, whether they intrigue me in some way or another, whether I think they're boring or beautiful or whatever I happen to think. It's really fun for me to kind of, like quote, add to cart without actually adding to cart. I just get to talk about it and think about it and daydream about owning that product and then come to the realization that I probably already have something similar and I don't need to buy that thing to feel satisfied with my makeup collection. I love the makeup I own, and unless there's a product coming out that is going to be completely unique in my collection, it feels silly to me to kind of own 2 of the same concept, right? So essentially, I'm finding that just talking about the makeup is scratching the itch for me that purchasing it would also do. It has also been extremely helpful for me to be able to wait and see reviews from other people. The most recent example I can think of this is the Ordinary concealer that was just launched. I really like the other complexion products that The Ordinary has. So I have their primer, their serum foundation, and their coverage foundation. And I love all 3 of those products for different reasons, but I think they're all incredibly high quality. They play really nicely with my skin. I love them. So perhaps naively, I assumed that I would also love their concealer. But because it was released in January when I was on a no-buy, I got to watch a few reviews before deciding to pick it up in February, and almost all of the reviews from people who have similar skin types to me said it was dry and cakey. So I chose not to spend my February budget on that, and I probably would have purchased that concealer without thinking twice if I wasn't waiting until the next month to be able to purchase things. It's been a nice benefit. I also want to be the person who can provide that information to you all who come to my channel for makeup reviews and information. But it's also realistic to think like, well, I don't need to buy every single thing that's released, so it makes sense to at least buy things that are starting to get preliminary reviews that seem like they align with my makeup aesthetics. So waiting to see reviews from other people has eliminated a bunch of things off my wish list, which has been really helpful. I've also felt much more free in terms of planning what videos I want to post. So when I was buying a ton of new makeup constantly in 2020, I was, like I said, just feeling very drowned and trapped, and like I could never, ever get to thorough, meaningful reviews of each of those things I had purchased. So now that I'm either not purchasing anything or purchasing very few things, I feel like I can really get to know those products super well and provide really thorough feedback on those items. This has been especially rewarding for me for smaller brands. So for example, I did reviews on Daniel Sandler Cosmetics, Salt New York, Sydney Grace eyeshadows. I did a video on Black-owned brands, a video on women-owned brands, and all of those have been so rewarding for me because I can really focus on high-quality reviews of the makeup I'm purchasing. It has also forced me to be more creative with my video ideas or to step outside my comfort zone more often in order to really get the best out of what I own already. So for example, I did a palette bingo that I'll link up in the corner. It's pretty funny. It doesn't go super well, but it's my first time ever trying a palette bingo where a random number generator picks the eyeshadow shades that I have to use all in one cohesive eye look. And that's something I probably never would have found time for in my filming schedule if I didn't feel like, oh, I really want to pull this palette back out that I own and haven't used in a while. Because I feel like otherwise I would be so focused on just the next best thing. And that video really taught me that I have a long way to go with my makeup skills and that I need to push myself out of my comfort zone more often. The next thing this no buy and low buy has done for me is it has really helped me solidify my thoughts on the makeup products that I already own. As I just mentioned with the palette bingo, it is helping me kind of fall back in love with a bunch of products that I had kind of forgotten that I owned, truthfully, because I was always focused on the new things I was purchasing. For example, two things that spring to mind immediately are the ColourPop Just a Tint lip color. I don't know how that ever fell to like the back of my lip products. I love the shade of that product. I love the moisturizing feel on my lips. I think it's such a stunning, stunning lip color. And I had completely forgotten I even had it. And I pulled it back out and I've been using it nonstop. Another one is the Juvia's Place Nomad palette. I adore that palette. It is one of the best color stories that I've ever seen. And every time I'm seeing new like grungy green palettes coming out, I need to remind myself that I have those shades in the Juvia's Place palette and that I adore the quality of that palette. So those have been just kind of two examples of things I've fallen back in love with. I also, through that journey of kind of solidifying my thoughts on everything I already own, realized that a lot of things don't actually have a place in my collection and or I don't like those products. So having the chance to really thoroughly test them made me feel super confident in decluttering them. So I did a huge full makeup collection declutter that I'll link in the corner if you're curious. And I never would have felt confident enough to just completely get rid of a bunch of those products if I hadn't had enough time to really, really test them out and feel comfortable knowing that they don't have a place for me in my makeup collection. And then the last thing that this no buy and low buy has really done for me that I kind of didn't anticipate, I guess I should rephrase. All of these things that I've said so far, I kind of had a hunch or a feeling, just a gut feeling that I would start to feel this way after some time. So in January, I had a really hard time, but now that I'm 3 months in, I feel so much better about this. And I kind of had a feeling that I would get to this place, to all of these places, all of these kind of bullet points I've talked about already. The one thing I really did not see coming at all is that it's making me think really hard about the impact of where I'm spending my dollar. So every time I'm looking at these new makeup releases, I'm seeing all of these releases from large conglomerate brands. And although sometimes I adore those, I also feel this feeling in my heart of wanting my small, low by month budgets to be going to businesses and companies and brands and people that I believe in as companies and brands and people. For example, I see a bunch of new lipstick releases from a bunch of different brands all the time, all over Instagram. And they kind of leave me with this hollow feeling. And then I see a new launch from a brand like Propa Beauty, who I mentioned earlier, a Black-owned makeup brand that sells lipsticks right now. And they basically doubled their shade range, and I hadn't even had a chance to purchase anything from their first shade range, and now they had all these new gorgeous shades coming out. And I felt so proud in a weird way of them for being able to accomplish that, being able to launch almost double the number of shades that they already had in their entire makeup brand. And it made me feel this very strong pull towards wanting to support them. I realized how much it means to smaller businesses when you spend your money with them. And I want to contribute to that. So it has really shifted my mindset on not just trying to save myself money through this process and be more well acquainted with my products through this process, but to also use my low buy months in order to promote and encourage and finance brands that I believe in. That's sort of an epiphany I had not that long ago, like just a week or two ago, of how much that's been affecting me. So my February low buy actually went towards all larger brands. And I am really regretting, or not regretting, because I do love the things I purchase, and I do think larger brands make incredibly quality products that, I want those as well. It's not that I don't ever want to buy from like a larger brand ever again, but it did leave me with this feeling of like, maybe I should have done more or done something different with that money. It could have potentially made a really, really huge impact on a small brand, and I want to be more intentional about that moving forward. So that's it. That was a lot of thoughts in kind of a small condensed time frame, considering the fact that this has been a topic that's kind of rolling around in my own brain for the past 3 months. I did my best to try to be concise about it and really get to the root of how I'm feeling. I am allowing myself at these kind of quarterly check-ins to basically back out if I decide that it's not working for me. I don't want to force myself to continue a system just for the sake of continuing it. I want it to be valuable for me. I want it to feel right. And so far it does. So I'm going to continue with this until at least the next quarter. So at least through June. And I'll report back then again about kind of how it's going. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope this video was interesting for you, and I hope it inspires you to kind of consider how a no buy or low buy might impact your life as well. Of course, it's not for everyone, and especially kind of my system of alternating months is not for everyone, so do what's best for you. But I have found this to be a really rewarding experience, and it's the first time I've ever really tried something like this in my life, so it might be worth a shot. If you did enjoy this video today, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing before you go today if you haven't already. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.